Yeah! Bet you all never thought you'd hear from me again. How's it going, you guys? I am YuGiOh, or the Shapefish31 Decode Talker, and it's been such a long time. Almost 2 months by my count. And I really am sorry I haven't put out too much content for you guys, but there's just been a lot of stuff going on. For one, I'm both a PokeTuber and a YuGiTuber, and I really like to put out content of both shows so I don't alienate the audience who watches both content, or either one or the other. And more recently, I am a college freshman, and I really just haven't had the time to make any YouTube videos, but I've finally got some time off to work on a couple of videos for you guys. This is just one of many ideas I have on the vault. And as you can tell by the title below, this is going to be a video where I rank my least favorite to favorite duels to close off each Yu-Gi-Oh series. And this is a video I don't think anyone has done before. But anyway, over the course of the years, we've had 5 Yu-Gi-Oh series, and the quality of each series kind of fluctuates. The series could fluctuate from being bad to decent or good, or the series could start off very slowly, but it improves into a decent series, or drastically improves into a great one. It could be consistently good, despite some rough patches here and there, or it could have started off very well, but somehow derailed into a ginormous mess as time went on. But regardless, despite that, every series has put on an at least passable final duel that gave the series a good close, at least from an action standpoint. And now I'm going to rank them all from my least favorite down to my favorite, taking into account the action of the duel and its meaning. So here we go, you guys, starting off with number 5. Starting off this list would be the recently concluded series Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. And despite how much the series sunk in quality, which is a lot, and how horrendous the ending was, they at least did put on what I thought was a really entertaining duel. Yugi and Reggie never fail to put on a good duel, but then again, all protagonists and rival duels have been great. Well, except for Judai and Manjome, but then again, it's GX, so no surprise there. And while I think this duel isn't quite as exciting as their second duel, it still is a good show nonetheless, with Yugi now in possession of the 4 Dimension Dragons, clashing against Reggie in his strongest ultimate portfolio, with all they have. It was cool to see you merge the Dimension Dragons together into newer variants that were absolutely sick in terms of design, and while the action of the duel was great, the duel itself having moments that really kept me on the edge of my seat, the meaning and story of the duel behind it weren't really that great. After a pointless 6-episode journey in 4 random duels, it all leads to this? A duel with Reggie to make the normally emotionless Rara smile to purify Zark's soul within him, or her, or whatever Rara's gender is now. On top of that, the interaction between the U-Boys, it just felt so random and out of place since, aside from Yuya and Yuto, all 4 of them either never interacted, or at each other's throats and ready to rip each other's throats out, and now they're all buddy-buddy supporting Yuya together? What? I mean, don't get me wrong, the duel is entertaining to watch. As far as a simple duel goes, this is a very fine duel, but what it does for the plot? Ugh. Oh, GX isn't in last place? Well, that's a shock. But of course, it wasn't going to be number 1, because this is GX. And GX can't win jack shit. But anyway, Judai-kun's time at Duel Academy is over. Before he leaves, he meets Yugi Muto himself, who tells him that he's grown, but he's lost something and sends him back in time to retrieve it. And this is where he duels a younger Yugi before he's separated from Yami Yugi. The action of the duel is decent. Really, I feel like the main draw of this duel is just the simple fact that this is Yugi and Judai, 2 protagonists actually dueling each other. But that's really it. For me, this is kind of like Freddy vs. Jason, where just the simple fact that Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees are actually fighting each other was more exciting than the movie itself, because really, that was the only thing of this movie that I actually enjoyed, at least until it became a gore fest. And the same applies to this duel. I feel like seeing 2 protagonists dueling is more exciting than the actual duel. The action isn't bad, but from a dueling standpoint, I think Arc 5, or really any series for that matter, had a better duel as far as action goes than GX did with its final duel. Although, GX does one up Arc 5 and most other series for the meaning behind the duel, which is why it's not in last place. While GX may be an overall inconsistent series, One thing that was consistent was Judai-kun, and his growth as a cheerful kid in the first 2 seasons, to a kid learning to live with the consequences of his actions into the 3rd season, and to an adult hardened by his experience in the final season, where he's had to use essentially what he loved to do as a means of literally fighting for his life. And what he had forgotten along the way was simply to just have fun dueling, and ultimately learn that even though he may be an adult, he can still have fun doing what he loves, which was the main point of Season 4. For all the bad that GX does have, one thing it did do right was give us a good protagonist. So kudos to you, GX. You did something right. Also, while this may not have anything to do with the duel, I'm on board with a good friend of mine, Duels from Clueless Gamers, that this duel didn't really actually happen and was just more of a dream than anything else.
You suck!
People in the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom, they can say whatever they want about the spin-offs, and no one will bat an eye. But you say remotely even one negative thing about Duel Monsters, and the fanbase will take that as grounds for World War III. Or at least the extremely nostalgic fans. To be honest, I've always thought this duel was overrated. By no means is it a bad duel, of course not, but I just never thought this was the duel to end all duels that others say it is. Yami Yugi has obtained his memories, and now all that's left is for him to be put to rest so he can finally join his family and friends in the afterlife. And the only way to do that is the same as everything else in this franchise, where a child's card game decides everything. Apparently, that's how it's always been, even in Egyptian times. So, he has to be defeated in a duel, and Yugi decides to step up to the plate to fulfill that job. And the story of this duel is really hit and miss for me. Ultimately, I believe YuGiOh GX had a better story behind its final duel than Duel Monsters did. The ending of GX was about Judai learning how to love dueling again after spending the entire 3rd and 4th season using it as a means of fighting for his life. Meanwhile, the main reason of this duel is for Yugi to show the strength that he has gained from Yami Yugi and that he has surpassed them, which on paper does sound nice, but I feel like it doesn't quite hold up since Yugi did borderline nothing the entire original series, and Yami Yugi was the one who did all the work. So I feel like Yugi grew without us actually seeing him grow, and since it was mostly in off-screen land for most of the time. This duel does do a good job at wrapping up the Pharaoh story, but doesn't really do a good job at beginning Yugi's story. The action of the duel itself is fairly nice. I do believe it does beat GX in that regard, with Yugi being backed into a corner but slowly getting out of it to combat the illusionary beast, and later go head-to-head with Yami Yugi, the latter of which actually keeps me on the edge of my seat. It was nice to see older cards that Yugi and the Pharaoh stopped using as the series progressed, and the climax of the duel was satisfying. I do think the idea of Yugi versus the Pharaoh is a good way to close the original series, but it didn't quite live up to the hype that the idea would create due to Yugi's lack of participation in the actual story. In the manga, this might be different, but not in the anime. So 3rd place is what the final duel of Duel Monsters gets. People often compare Zexal to Duel Monsters, but mostly talk about how much of a rip-off Zexal is and how great Duel Monsters is. And I can certainly see where that comes from. Well, the comparison to Zexal and Duel Monsters, not the part about the rip-off and Duel Monsters being so great, not that part. Regardless, I do feel like Zexal consistently had better writing than Duel Monsters did, and took what Duel Monsters did and improved it. The variants have been defeated, and numbers have all been collected, but no one knows what to do with the Numeron code. Astro wants to use it to destroy the Barian world, while Yuma wants to revive all those who lost their lives and find a peaceful way to end things, thus setting up this duel, which is a combination of Yugi versus the Pharaoh and Judai versus Yugi, but it has more parallels to Yugi versus the Pharaoh. Although I do feel like Yuma has more to gain from beating Astral than Yugi did from beating the Pharaoh. At the beginning of Zexal, Yuma was a terrible duelist, no confidence in himself, and really had no friends aside from Katori. And maybe Bronk. Maybe Bronk. But as the series goes on, we actually saw Yuma grow into an amazing duelist, overcome his confidence issues, and formed a circle of friends who supported him through thick and thin, even if they were nameless and about as interesting as Yugi's entourage. Meanwhile, with Yugi, he didn't per se have those problems, or as many. Yugi was never a bad duelist. He had a good group of friends since the beginning of the series. Well, the anime at least. But he did have a confidence problem, but he hardly got any screen time to overcome that. This duel was a key moment for Yuma to show how much he had grown as both a duelist and a person, even though throughout most of the second half of Zexal, Yuma had already shown that he could take care of business without Astral's help. And his moves for fighting was to find peace between Astral World and the Barian World, so both could coexist together without any more harm being done to either of them. The actual duel itself is spectacular, with Yuma taking on Hope in its many variants, Yuma and Astral going back and forth, and at one point I actually thought Yuma lost the duel was about to say he had a counter ready for it. The ending of the duel I felt had wonderful symbolism, despite it being the same thing as Judai-kun's lesson from the GX finale. Like Judai, Yuma had lost something, that being how to have fun in dueling since he was using it as a means of fighting for his life, but regained it from his duel with Astral before defeating him, showing that he truly has surpassed the one who made him great. So good job. Very good job indeed, Zexal. Yusei vs. Jack, the finale duel of 5Ds, and I feel like this duel has the right blend of both action and depth behind it to put on a good show and give the series of 5Ds a satisfying conclusion. Zona and Ilgasser have been defeated once and for all, and now the world is at peace, but Team 5Ds are all facing a battle together, but at the same time, they're fighting it individually. That battle being their future. Everyone has wonderful opportunities for a better life, but they all hesitate to take them due to their opportunities requiring that they all go their separate ways. Everyone except Jack, who's already found his path, aren't quite sure what to do, but in order to find his path and indirectly help the others, Yusei challenges Jack to one final duel in what results in an emotional but still epic duel that blends the beginning of 5Ds with the end. As the series went on, Yusei and Jack began to rely more and more on their Signer Dragons, seemingly forgetting about the array of other monsters they had at their disposal. But in this duel, it felt like they went back to the style of dueling they had at the beginning of the series. While Yusei was always the strategic duelist, in this duel for the first half, he's fighting it in a way that he did at the beginning of 5Ds. Instead of using Stardust Dragon, he's using other monsters such as Nitro Warrior and Turbo Warrior, cards that we hardly ever saw in the second half, while Jack went back to the same aggressive style of dueling that he did during the Fortune Cup arc, as well as showing that he isn't entirely dependent on Red Dragon Archfiend, before both duels began switching to newer monsters and variants of their respective dragons, in a duel that went back and forth for the most part. Although I think the duel they had at the Fortune Cup was better, but this is still just as good. The symbolism of the duel really gives this finale its charm, with this duel not being just about Yusei, but everyone, keeping in line what 5Ds is all about. As Yusei and Jack continue their duel, the other sides reflecting their time with Yusei and how much they've grown and the people that they want to be in the future, and they finally make their choices on what path to take, when Yusei assures them that no matter how far apart they'll still be bonded. And while some people may have gotten sick of Yusei's constant friendship speeches, that was the point of 5Ds. 6 people who are in one way or another orphans, coming together and forming a bond stronger than blood itself, and becoming a family that they never had, as they grew stronger together, which is symbolized beautifully in the ending of the duel, where Yusei defeated Jack not with Stardust Dragon, or a variant of Stardust Dragon, but rather with Junk Warrior. I say it's beautiful because Yusei is both Stardust Dragon and Junk Warrior, but the core of his character, he's Junk Warrior, which represents the bond that Yusei has with his friends, showing his ability, Power of Fellows, to boost his strength with the help of other monsters in the field, showing the others that they'll be bonded for life no matter how far apart they'll be, and they'll continue to get stronger, which leads them all to success in their brighter futures. Luna attending college, Akisa becoming a doctor, Leo, Jack, and Crow all become professional duelists known around the world, with all of them mentioning that their bonds is what got them all as far as it did in one way or another. All this, in my opinion, culminated together beautifully into a wonderful duel that gave an amazing conclusion to a great series. And there you have it, you guys. Those are my least favorites of favorite final duels of Yu-Gi-Oh! I do enjoy all 5 of these duels, just some more than others, obviously. And it may be sometime before I can put out another video, since it will take time for me to rewatch some duels, but I'll do my best. But going back to this video, what's your favorite finale duel of Yu-Gi-Oh? Do you agree with this list? Do you disagree with this list? Comment below and let me know. What's my next Yu-Gi-Oh video gonna be? That's a surprise. I want to try another video that I don't think anyone else has done, so you just have to wait until then and see. Until then, I am YuGiOh, or the Shape H71 Deco Talker, and I will see you all some other time. Stay gold, everyone. Bang!